Hi, welcome to this week's episode of Dairy TV. Now, last week we looked at the factors before the master plan, the factors of the owner and also the economic factors. But now we look at the master planning in detail. We are assuming that you qualified yourself to start up the dairy, or did you disqualify yourself? Did you profile yourself against the things that we discussed and you found yourself qualified? In that case, now you're in the right place. We discuss how do we then set up? Where does it begin? Where does it end? Now, as we look at these factors, I would like to tell you what I see. What I observe is that the person beginning the dairy, what comes to their mind first is the cows. And that happens all the time, all the places. But is that the right way? This is what I propose. We always begin with the fodder. Never bring cows before the fodder. That is disaster. 2, never bring cows before the structure. So here we discuss which begins and which follows. Once you have consulted your consultant and you have been, the context is good, you are prepared, you have the capital, you have your source of financing, the first thing to begin with is to check that you have fodder. Grow the fodder first. In fact, if you grow the fodder and something happens along the way and you discover that you cannot start your dairy, if you had maize silage or sorghum silage or whatever it is, you can actually sell it. It's okay, you just cut and package and sell. But if you brought the cows and you have no fodder, your business begins with a dip. You cannot support that business to go to the positive cash flow because the costs are too high. You are not prepared. So the fodder first. As you do the fodder, you can also now be doing the structures and the procurement of the equipment. In most cases, if you're doing a modular barn, it is going to take somewhere between 1.5 months all the way to 3 months. So during that period, if we have not planted the fodder, that period is wasted. So here we are looking at the structure is being constructed and also the fodder is growing. So as for the fodder, if you're in the rain-fed condition where you're depending on the rains, then it's okay because then you planted within the season. But if you're in an irrigated context where all your fodder is going to be supported through a form of irrigation, then it means that before you grow the fodder, you've also done all your infrastructure for irrigation. So the fodder is growing and the structures are being done. Now, at the close of the structures, then this is a place where you begin to procure the specific equipment. It could be the milking equipment, it could be the forage chopping equipment. So at the point when we are harvesting the fodder and putting the silage in the bunkers, that's a point where all the equipment must be in. And this is also the right time to begin to have the manager and the workers in place. Now, if you look at that order, then you realize that the last thing to come to your farm is actually the cows. So the cows come to completed structures, which are comfortable for them, and the cows come to ready fodder. Not when the fodder is being harvested, not when the fodder is still fermenting in the bunker, but when the fodder is ready to be fed. Now, when cows come, in most cases, they are coming in as pregnant heifers. So they're coming to give birth. So you also have to have all the calf pens ready, all the pellets and the feed for the calf ready. So that is the order. Fodder together with the structures. At the end of the structures, procurement of equipment, procurement of workers, and then you're ready for the cows. That way, you know that you have started the right way. So let's continue as we now discuss what are the common mistakes that people make during the startup process.
As a consumer, I prefer taking processed dairy products. With comparison to the products from unlicensed traders, at times they have posed challenges in 1 or 2 cases which we've had, which is very dangerous, a healthy concern for my family. And so I've always preferred taking processed milk, processed dairy products such as yogurt and cheese, which is always very favorable and healthy for my family. From experience, I would urge other consumers to consider taking milk and dairy products from licensed processors by the Kenya Dairy Board. This will be an assurance for the health and safety of their families.
Come, let's have breakfast.
I hope that you have subscribed to Dairy TV so that you can continue getting these lessons as they come. Now, in this session, we now look at the common mistakes or the common pitfalls that investors make when they are getting into the dairy farming. Perhaps I could just summarize and say that anybody who goes into the dairy farm without a master plan are the most susceptible to making these mistakes. So when you have a plan, you have less chances of making the mistakes. So what are these common pitfalls that investors make? The first one is failure to profile oneself or one's family with regard to the period of or the life of this dairy enterprise. What do I mean by saying that? If you started a dairy farm already and your family was not interested, your very close family members were not interested, your children have grown up, they are not interested, take it up. Your partner or very close family members are not interested. There are chances that as you continue advancing in age, and a time comes when you cannot closely monitor your dairy, then that dairy will fall. So it will not live the life that you envisioned. That's a major mistake. So be very sure that you have support within family and that people are interested and that this enterprise can outlive you. Then mistake number 2 is now the order of implementation, where you bring the cows first before the fodder or before the structures, or you bring cows first, they give birth, the calf pens are not available, or you bring the cows first, the workers are not there. So just a confusion of how do these things follow. That's a major mistake. And anybody who brought cows before the fodder, chances are that they begin with a huge loss that they cannot easily cover. Then the third pitfall is what we call trust in own creativity. Perhaps you have been involved in construction work, or you have been involved in accountancy and bookkeeping history in your career, and then you think that you don't need to consult anybody, you just go straight into the dairy farm. Now, that has also been a major problem. You make your own construction the way you think is suitable. You go out and select your own cows. You go out and make your own calf pens and all other stages of the farm. You use your own knowledge to do it. Others even go ahead and make their own silage for the first time. And what we see, somebody has messed up with 10 acres of maize has become manure instead of becoming silage, because you have seen all this information, but you have never been able to do it practically. This is why we say it's good to get all the knowledge, but do not forget to ask somebody to handhold you as you take these activities. That is very important. And now finally, the other mistake, it comes in even when you have a master plan. You have consulted somebody, you have got a good plan, it is easy into the future, it tells you how to follow step after step, fodder, structures, equipment, workers, management software, and so on. Everything is well lined out, but you don't follow the plan that you paid for. Now, look at this. You paid for a plan, you got it, it was seen by the bank, you probably got financing from the bank, but when it comes to implementing, you then put the plan aside and begin doing things out of your own creativity and excitement. That's a major mistake. If you got a master plan, follow it to the letter. And when you get to a place where it needs a bit of explanation or expansion, or you don't understand it, consult the person who made it or somebody who has that knowledge. I think for now, those are some of the key mistakes that I have seen in the dairy startups, and it ends badly. In most cases, either a farm shuts down on you, or if it doesn't shut down, you are in so much financial crisis that the farm cannot continue. For you to avoid that, these mistakes that you have just mentioned, avoid. Please subscribe to the Dairy TV so that we can continue telling you these things that you must do for you to run a successful dairy enterprise.